Good afternoon everybody. Buon pomeriggio a tutti. I have the pleasure, it's a great pleasure for me to start this webinar today, this Smart Talk. We started where we have the pleasure to have as a guest Christos Vasiliou, who is the managing director of KPMG Cyprus. It's a real pleasure to have him with us, and I thanks Christos for the presence. Christos is also a valued member of the advisory board of the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce, we can say from the beginning. So it's really important for us to have his advice on the activity of our board. Christos is looking at his CV. I've seen that he has a long career in KPMG. We can say around 30 years. So he's
since 1991.
Okay, so this is really a great career. Being the managing director from 2019, if I'm not wrong. So this is and having in the past also role in the advisory team in the financial services team. So it's really important for us to have him today with us. And the focus of this Smart Talk will be a general overview on perspective and challenges of the economy of Cyprus, because this is a challenging period for all the countries, but we are absolutely focused as a chamber on Cyprus, and through Cyprus on the Mediterranean region. So it's really important for us to share ideas and to have discussion about these topics. Before to leave the floor to Federico Franchina, that will be the moderator, one of the vice presidents of the chamber, that will be the moderator of this Smart Talk. Let me say that we started this with this format, the Smart Talk, in January 2021. And this is today, 20th of October, is the 20th Smart Talk. So we did 20 Smart Talk from the beginning. Today is 20th of October. So just an information, but I think is important to share also, because this I can say was a really successful format, and we will continue also next year. After the Smart Talk, the other vice president of the chamber, Kostas Katsaros, will take care to the conclusion. Let's start then. Please, Federico, go ahead. Thanks again, Christos, for your time. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe. Thank you, Christos, for your time and very interesting participation that I can guess. And thank you also to our audience that is very interested in this kind of activity, among other things. I would like to start asking to Christos, Mr. Vasiliou, to give us, to the audience, a general overview about KPMG Cyprus, about the main areas of interest and offered services in Cyprus from the firm.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, everybody, for the invitation to this Smart Talk. I'm really pleased to be here with you and honored. Going to the question, KPMG is a 74-year-old professional services company in Cyprus. We set up in Cyprus in 1948, actually before the Republic of Cyprus was set up, which was set up in 1960. So we are older than the Republic itself. We are in Cyprus, one of the largest professional services firms, offering audit, tax, and advisory services. We are 44 partners within the island, and we are 870 people, members of staff. We cover, as a firm, we cover the whole array of industries on the island, and actually we are quite strong in all of the industries that we serve. Including the banking and finance industry, the insurance industry, health, education, hospitality, all the major industries that exist in Cyprus. Main areas of focus, as I said before, we are split into 3 main departments, as every KPMG member firm around the world, between audit, tax, and advisory. Within the disciplines that we serve, we have dedicated specialized people who serve sub functions within the same functions. So, for example, in tax, we have our people who specialized in direct tax, in indirect tax, in international tax, in global mobility services within the tax function. In the advisory sector, we cover all main disciplines like deal advisory, financial risk management, risk consulting, management consulting, real estate, and so forth. So all in all, we cover the whole of Cyprus. I should say that we have presence in all 6 major cities of Cyprus. We are spanning all through the island. We have 6 offices around the country, and we try and serve in the best possible manner the professional services sector in Cyprus.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting the parallel history between KPMG and the Republic of Cyprus. It's a very good grounds about the firm. And in this sense, what I think is of particular interest for our members, for the audience, is also related to the commitment that KPMG has in order to support business development, but also to promote the attraction of foreign investment in Cyprus. And to this end, what is also, in our view, could be of importance is to have a general overview about the current status and perspectives of the local economy in Cyprus, but also in the East Med area, which are business opportunities in Cyprus and in East Med regions. Please.
Thank you, Federico. Okay, the Cyprus economy is a small economy. Don't compare with Italy and with any other big European countries. We are a small economy. GDP of the island is around about 24 billion euros. The economy has been growing with a rate of around about 5.8 to 6% in 2021. It is expected to slow down in 2023 and 2024, round about 3.5% every year. And this is a result of the recent developments, which we will elaborate a bit more later on. Unemployment stands at 6.4%, with a view to being reduced to around about 5.5% in the coming 2 years. Inflation is around about 3%. All in all, these are the major sort of macroeconomic indicators of the Cyprus economy. Now, the Cyprus economy is faced at the moment with more or less the same challenges that all other European countries are being faced with. We have a rising inflation as a result of the conditions that we are experiencing around the world at the moment, with energy prices, with the war in Ukraine. All these macroeconomic effects affect the inflation rate, which is a bit of a problem at the moment for Cyprus as well, because it increases the energy costs of the island. It increases the cost of construction of new buildings and real estate. It causes some problems. The increase in interest rates is causing problems as well, because people find it difficult to borrow money, or businesses find it difficult to borrow and carry out investments. So the investment rate at the moment is a bit of the slowing down side, I would say. And this increase in interest rates may cause an increase in the NPLs in the banking sector, the non-performing loans of the banking sector. And actually, it is expected that we will have some sort of increase in the NPLs in the banking sector. Although I must say that Cyprus has done considerable progress towards reducing the NPLs in the banking sector since 2013, since the banking crisis. We have managed as a country to reduce the NPLs to a by a very considerable level. Another problem which is causing some disruption in the economy is the sanctions and as a result of the Russian invasion in Ukraine. As it's not a secret that Cyprus had a lot of dealings with Russia in the past, and this is causing problems to the economy because this activity is slowing down. Of course, I will mention a bit later on that Cyprus has been adjusting its economic model fairly well, fairly efficiently, to concentrate on other areas and jurisdictions other than Russia at the moment. But the conflict in Russia is a problem and is causing a problem at the moment currently in the marketplace. So all in all, the Cyprus economy is a small economy. It's easily manageable because by its size, you can adjust it and you can manage it much better than bigger economies. And the measures that we have been taking in the past and we are taking now are working because of the size of the economy. Nevertheless, it's an open economy, meaning that international developments affect the economic activity in Cyprus because the economic model is such that the economy is dependent on foreign direct investment. And if you have economic shocks elsewhere, and especially in the European Union, all these shocks are absorbed in Cyprus. And because of the fact that, as I said before, we are not dependent, but a big chunk of the economy comes from foreign direct investment. When this foreign direct investment goes down, it is inevitable that the economy will slow down as well. Now, as far as the Mid East, I will elaborate a bit later on when we have a talk about what Cyprus can offer in the area.
Of course, we duly noted indeed the resilience of Cyprus that, as you said, is not a secret, but on the other hand, it's very, very clear the heavy Russian investment in Cyprus. But what we are currently noted, and for these reasons, we are transferring this kind of information to our associate, how at the same time Cyprus has energies and efforts to deal with the slowdown of Russian foreign investment and open the doors to others' investments. So I want to move to my other question, Christos. Because Italy is very well known as the home of small and medium sized business. In this sense, a lot of our members are indeed small and medium sized business, and they are looking for information and assistance in order to, as I said before, to open, even from Italy, opportunities for investment abroad. So in this sense, what kind of information, but also assistance promotion, KPMG provides in order, for example, to support the Italian small and medium enterprise in a foreign market like Cyprus?
Well, Federico, I should say that KPMG in Cyprus has grown over the years through the local market and through our knowledge about small and medium-sized companies, because as you can understand, 90% of the companies in Cyprus are considered to be small or medium-sized. It's only a few companies that are considered to be big companies in accordance with the EU standards and thresholds. So we feel that we have huge expertise and knowledge on how to help small and medium-sized companies grow in the Cyprus economy. At KPMG in Cyprus, we have established a department which is like a one-stop shop for somebody who wants to set up a base in Cyprus or a company in Cyprus. And because we understand that small and medium-sized companies do not have the luxury and the big departments to help their people to relocate in Cyprus, to help their people to help the company to register, to get organized, let's say, in Cyprus, to set up policies, procedures, which are in accordance with the Cypriot laws and regulations. We use our department to guide all these companies how to set up on the island. And our services range from registering the company with all the relevant authorities, helping their people to relocate in Cyprus by helping them with the relevant authorities here in Cyprus, registering the companies here on the island, offering our tax and VAT advice on how they should comply with the local rules and regulations. We also help a lot of businessmen, entrepreneurs, and companies which come to Cyprus to connect with the Cyprus market, because it's important. One thing that is important is to successfully set up and comply with all the laws and regulations. But the most important thing is to be able to connect with the economy, with the local economy, because this is what I feel will give the new company the drive and the prospect to prosper on the island and to be able to penetrate the economy, to transact with other companies, and to be able to generate revenues. And I feel that this is something that we do well because of the fact that we are quite strong in the Cyprus market. As I said before, we have grown through the Cyprus market, and we know how to connect businesses with each other. So I would say that it's like holding the newly set up company's hand to adapt to the Cyprus economy, to the Cyprus standards, regulations and legislations, but also to help them grow their business. So this is how we help companies.
It's very interesting. This is very interesting because is what they are the first services that small and medium, but also bigger enterprises usually ask. But your last remark allows me to introduce another theme in this very frankly and excellent discussion that we are having. Because you said Cyprus is a small market, but what we have to say, to be honest, is that Cyprus unveil potential, huge, bigger market. Indeed, what we have seen and what we see is that important groups of enterprises are evaluating Cyprus not only for the market, the separate market, but as a hub for business. So, in your opinion, what is the added value offered by the country, the current incentives to invest in the islands, not only for the local market, but as I said before, as a hub for the region and a hub not only for the Eastern Med region?
Well, before getting into the details, I would say that some years ago, there was a big effort by both the private and the public sector to transform the economic model of Cyprus and to make it one that is used for encouraging companies and multinational companies to invest in Cyprus instead of just through Cyprus. And the through Cyprus model is something that is not valid anymore based on the new regulations, legislations in the EU regarding offshore jurisdictions, regarding investments through a country. So that effort, I feel it's been paying off, because through the incentives that I will mention a bit later on, we managed as a country to attract a lot of multinational companies, and especially in the IT and in the ICT sector, especially in that sector, to make them invest locally, set up headquarters in Cyprus, employ people in Cyprus, and serve international markets, which is something that we have been aiming for a long time now. And by having this new economic model, what can someone achieve? We can achieve not just promoting business in Cyprus in terms of getting more taxes for the state or the normal usual things, but we managed to promote an economy and an ecosystem around those companies. For example, education, health, schools, transport, housing, real estate. This is the whole ecosystem is being developed and is being expanding due to the fact that we managed to attract companies, multinational companies in Cyprus. Now, what can Cyprus offer? First of all, let me just say that our system is a presidential democracy system, as you know. We have the legal system is based on British common law, which is, I would say, business oriented and clear. Cyprus has been a member of all the international bodies like WTO, World Bank, IBRD. We don't have anything to feel jealous about other EU jurisdictions. We offer, and it's evident and it's clear that the costs of running a business in Cyprus is much less than a lot of other European jurisdictions at the moment. The professionals on the ground are very well trained, very well educated, and they can live up to the standards of such multinational companies. And therefore, the whole framework, I would say, is facilitating somebody or a multinational company which wants to set up a base here. The most important, in my mind, one of the most important factors is the geostrategic location of Cyprus. And we are lucky enough to be in the middle of 3 continents, and businesses can transact around the world through Cyprus. Time zones are convenient. Non-European countries which want to set a footing in Cyprus, in the European Union, can do it through Cyprus easily, and the other way around, and vice versa. This positioning of Cyprus, I think, is a helping hand towards having a lot of multinational companies coming here. Along with the transition of the economic model of Cyprus, we have built up the Recovery and Resilience Fund in Cyprus, the new plan for the economy, which attracted around about 1.2 billion of euros from the European Union. And this plan will be used to foster digitalization, the green economy, public health, climate change, education, and all these funds if we manage to utilize them, which we are hopeful that we will be utilizing them, will help the whole ecosystem of Cyprus become much more sophisticated and in line with what with the expectations of multinational companies. When multinational companies want to move somewhere, they are not just looking about tax and how much tax they taxes is not the main consideration anymore. They are looking on things like how easy it is for them to do business in the country, what is the caliber of the professionals serving them in the country, how easy they can get work permits for their people, how easy they can access public health, transport, and so forth. And this Recovery and Resilience Fund, which we managed to get from the European Union, will move towards this direction, and it will enhance even more the ecosystem of the island. So, geostrategic, I would say, geopolitical, geostrategic location of Cyprus is important. We are changing the whole ecosystem of the country to make it, as I said before, more sophisticated, more up to the standard of multinational companies. And also, of course, having mentioned the tax not being the most important element, it still remains as a considerable factor when companies contemplate moving to Cyprus. And our tax system, I would say that it's a fair system for taxpayers. On the low side, corporation tax is around, it's at 12.5%. We don't tax dividends in the hands of foreign shareholders. We don't tax capital. We don't have any capital gains tax on selling of securities, on selling of real estate property outside Cyprus. So the only, in effect, in essence, tax that a foreign owned company can pay in Cyprus is the 12.5% corporation tax rate here. We also managed to promote some more measures to facilitate foreign employees to move and work in Cyprus by halving the rates of tax for people who work in Cyprus and earn more than 55,000 euros. They can enjoy 50% tax rates for 17 years. And other incentives that we managed to pass through legislation and still be EU compliant. So the whole system, regime, I would say, ecosystem has been changed to facilitate both investments on the island and through the island working internationally, and also we facilitate and we encourage foreign employees and foreign people to come and work in Cyprus.
Very, very, very good. It's a very clear picture on what Cyprus is and what Cyprus want to become in the near future. The position, of course, as you said, is very, very interesting despite some historical issues, but we are truly confident that its question is a matter of time and is important for everybody in the Mediterranean region to reach a deal. As for example, we see last week the historical agreement between Israel and Lebanon on the maritime boundaries. But you mentioned an important point in your remarks about, among other important points, about the climate change, and I can add that despite the war, or maybe the war in Ukraine is fueling the approach to the climate change, So it is making like an accelerator and not anything else. In this sense, we received a lot of questions about what, for example, in Cyprus, but not only Cyprus, companies can do in the field of environmental, social, and governance fields. The most famous with the acronym ESG. Investments. So in this sense, the different national recovery and resilience plans, among others, European Union initiatives award this kind of investments. From your position, from your chair, what are the advantages that this kind of investments and policies offer to the companies? What are, in terms of sustainable finance, the outcome of this kind of investment? Okay,
let me say that, first of all, let me say that the ESG is here to stay, and it's something that is being promoted by the whole world, and it's something that is not in fashion. It's a very, very important constituent for sustainable growth. And that's why we saw a lot of funds being released or will be released to different countries through the RRF. Now, ESG for me, it's like an ecosystem. It's not just an isolated 3 words. All companies which are in the ESG ecosystem or which will be ESG compliant will be expected to be compliant by their clients, by their suppliers, by the regulators, by their employees, by rating agencies, by the stock exchanges they are regulated from. So it's like a new norm, it's like a new economy. In my view, however, somebody needs to measure the cost and benefits, and you cannot just invest just for the sake of being compliant with 1 or 2 ESG KPIs. We need to change culture. We need to embed a new culture in ESG. For me, investment in ESG will pay off in the long run in terms of savings in a lot of resources, in terms of maintaining a greener environment, in terms of respecting companies which apply the S and G and not just the E, because a lot of people may confuse ESG with just E, and it's not just E, it's social and it's governance as well. And the companies which will be compliant and the companies which will change culture with respect to ESG will have a lot to benefit from this change going forward in terms of revenues. Now, as I said before, there is a lot of funding coming from the European Union in all countries for adopting ESG practices, digitalization, and so forth. And it's a chance for everybody to modernize our economies and make them climb at much higher levels. So that this sort of the GDP growth that we want to achieve will come from these changes. So in terms of companies, I think that it's not just theory, and people are starting to appreciate companies which are ESG compliant and who are doing things on ESG, and this will be paying off. And in terms of the governmental sector and the public finances, again, I think that this is a chance to modernize economies around the world. And I'm talking about Cyprus as well. I mean, Cyprus, for me, the RRF is a gift for the Cyprus economy, because with 1.2 billion of euros, if we manage to get all this funding, we can do miracles about the economy. It's a small economy, and we can modernize it with very, very low cost for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the picture about this hot topic, despite some skepticism. Someone is a bit skeptic in the financial community about ESG. But as you said, ESG is not only environment, but is also social. In this sense, we know next week, as Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce, we will have a very important trade mission, but we can call it like a social mission, because it will be focused in the healthcare sector, and with a focus, of course, on post-pandemic challenges and perspective for recovery. Of course, healthcare is a business, is an industry, but we experience from the pandemic how is important for the social effects. We are seeing, for example, data from UK, how the post-pandemic has left a big gap in healthcare system. But from your point of view, from your perspective, from KPMG Cyprus perspective, data and information, what are the opportunities in the healthcare industry in Cyprus, and also, as important, related area to the healthcare?
Okay, the healthcare sector in Cyprus is undergoing a big change at the moment, and this is one of the reasons is the adoption of the national healthcare system in Cyprus in the past 3-4 years, where the general healthcare system has been set up, and it promoted a lot of investments in the healthcare sector. We are seeing quite considerable activity in mergers and acquisitions in private hospitals. We are monitoring a lot of interest from healthcare funds, and not only healthcare funds, which are interested in buying private hospitals and companies involved in the healthcare sector in Cyprus. And there is a lot of interest going on the island. We are seeing the setup of medical schools, which is quite important for us. And the whole industry, I think, has, if I can say, has woken up in the past 3-4 years. And this is evident, and we are seeing it, we are monitoring it, because we have a big healthcare unit at KPMG in Cyprus, and we are involved in several of these, either M&A activities or building of new hospitals activities, greenfield projects. There is a lot of interest. One thing that will keep it going, I would say, is the RRF funding, which part of it will be devoted into public health. And again, here we will be seeing a lot of investments and activity going on. And this is something that maybe Italian businesses may be interested in looking at, the healthcare system of Cyprus, and the sort of the industry, the healthcare industry in Cyprus, which I know that you have a lot of companies which are specializing in healthcare, either equipment like Fuji, and other companies which may put Cyprus on their map. And I think it's quite interesting to exploit this opportunity.
Indeed, in terms of opportunities, we had Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce and the KPMG Cyprus very good relations in terms of activities that we we had performed in order to promote business opportunities. So before to leave to my friend Kostas the conclusion, let me thank you very much, Christos. Let me thank you to KPMG Cyprus for the commitment. And I would like also to put on the table the last consideration. Having this historic, very excellent feedback between us, how can, in your view, these activities can contribute to keeping high the business relations between Italy and Cyprus and international cooperation in the East Med area? We see when we started, for example, years ago, we focused on energy, on shipping, and we see, for example, that energy has stopped, but we do hope the projects like the Italian oil and gas giant Eni has revealed a couple of weeks ago. So we do hope there will be a very, very good opportunity for the near future. We see, of course, the healthcare. We see also the shipping with the ferry link between Cyprus and Greece, and our hope is the other step from Greece to Italy in order to fill the gap, the geographical gap that is on our mind, because the Mediterranean is one, so we don't have East, Central, and so on. So can kindly ask you to give your view, your perspective on what we have to do to keep strengthening these business relations between the two countries and the cooperation in this Med area.
Okay, you said you mentioned energy. I will not get into energy. Again, it's very well known. Eni is here. They have around about 6 out of the 12 plots. It's time for, they are looking for commercialization. It's a problem that we have the political issue, but as you mentioned before, we saw Israel and Lebanon concluding an agreement despite of their political differences that exist. So Eni is a giant, as you said, and I think it can play a big role in commercializing our oil and gas reserves and trying to find a solution towards agreeing on something. But I recognize that we have the political issue, which makes it a bit tricky at the moment. But the reserves are there, Eni is there. Hopefully we can find a solution there, and that would be a big chance to not be continue to be dependent on Russian oil and gas, and it's an important step if we can manage to commercialize this. Healthcare, I mentioned it before, you mentioned it again, Federico. I will not get into it, but I really believe in the sector. I really believe that there are opportunities in the healthcare sector for Italian businesses and companies to take an eye on the Cyprus healthcare sector going forward. One thing that I think may possess good opportunities is the education sector. And what do I mean by that? With Brexit, and a lot of our students will not find it affordable to continue studying in British universities. And that's where the Italian educational institutions may express an interest for Cyprus students. And people, I know that a lot of Cyprus students are looking elsewhere in the EU to study, including Cyprus, of course. We have a lot of universities, but a lot of Cypriots have started recently looking at European universities. One of the countries that might be of interest might be Italy. And I know that, for example, Bocconi University is one of the most famous universities in Italy, and we can use the Italian universities to associate with Cyprus universities on joint programs. And this will give an extra push in the education sector, both in Cyprus as well as in Italy. And I'm coming from the angle of the recent knowledge that we have, seeing a lot of Cypriot students finding it a bit difficult now to afford non-EU or foreign fees in the UK university. So the education sector might be something that may worth looking at. Of course, tourism, we tend to neglect tourism, but there is a lot of room there between the two countries on tourism. I went to Como in the summer. My plane was full of Cypriots going to Italy for their vacation. I returned back 1 week later. My plane was full of Italians coming to Cyprus for vacation. So why not exploring ways of working together on the tourism sector? But I think that these are some areas that we may be working. Of course, trade is something that I feel that is not exploited to its full extent. Trade meaning exporting of goods from Italy to Cyprus and vice versa. And I think that there is room there to improve even further. But energy, healthcare, education, tourism, trade, I think we need to be doing more. And there is scope. I think there is scope. And of course, for Cyprus to be used as a, let's say, hub for Italian businesses which may want to set up a base in Cyprus and transact with the Middle East, Africa, and the area below us, I think, as I explained before, the incentives given, the change of the economic model, the ecosystem that is being developed on the island is quite facilitating for doing business using Cyprus. But in my view, these are the 4 or 5 areas that I feel there is prospect, and I feel that we should be pursuing even more.
Thank you again, Christos. Thank you very much to you and to KPMG Cyprus. I leave with the conclusion.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much. Thank you very much. And as I said before, it's been an honor to be with you today. My pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you. I leave the conclusion for this Smart Talk. Looking forward to our first Vice President, Mr. Kostas Katsaros. Kostas, please.
Federico, Giuseppe, Christo, thank you very much for this overview, I would say, of the situation on the Cypriot economy. As you can see, Federico San has started to come over in the office here after a couple of rainy days in Cyprus. The good thing is that we are waiting you when the health forum will take place next week, and the weather will be sunny and nice, and the temperature will be fantastic for the autumn of Cyprus, which is one of the advantages of Cyprus. I think, Christo, you mentioned everything else, but the sunny weather, which everybody knows, of course, for Cyprus.
I took it for granted, Kostas.
It was a pleasure, and you know, it's very important to have the views of the managing director of the biggest advisory firm of Cyprus. Of course, KPMG is also, as very well known, a firm that deals with audit, financial services in general, but especially with regards to the advisory, it is arguably the biggest in Cyprus, and it's one of the biggest top, let's say, players of the island in the services sector. So it's important to have the, you know, overview of the macroeconomics, the rates, also the views on the future developments. Christos gave emphasis on ESG, a model for sustainability in Cyprus, for a lot of fields referring to the energy sector in the end, educational sector, even the tourism product. It's very important to understand that we are undergoing a transformation process. He referred to the headquartering as not only a need for tax efficient environment, but also an overall infrastructure and how companies are from abroad, especially big multinational companies, are exploring their opportunities in terms of facilitating their employees, in terms of the level of life, the level of and the caliber of the professionals that are servicing them in each jurisdiction. So it's really important that he gave, I think, very clearly the essence of transformation that takes place now in the Cypriot economy as part of, an overall regulatory environment that changes, and it is maybe accelerated through the events that we are all understand that are now affecting us as the war in Ukraine, inflation, and all the consequences of the recent developments. So I think we had the chance to hear a very thorough overview within a very short, of course, timing that the Smart Talk gives to its speaker. And I think that we will have the chance to elaborate further during the coming event and all the events of the chamber. So I would like to thank you, Christos, also on my behalf for this presentation and this overview that you gave us with your expertise and look at a larger scale on the perspective of things. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
To the audience for being with us until late now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.